Bernstein again. Big opening. Pass 5. Pass 10. Vermont's a man. And he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards of the carry.
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are you doing today?
Every day's a holiday. It's a solar eclipse holiday today. I hope no one looked up hope you guys were having inside the shell. No practices outside. It was hard not to gaze up into the great unknown. But man, Matt Perkins, every day I get to see you is a good day.
It is always a great day to see you. Always a good day to see a member of the Badger coaching staff. And we have someone that we are very excited about today. It's wide receiver coach Kenny Guiton. Kenny, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to meet and talk. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, we've got lots to talk about with this wide receiver rooms, and your unique story in football and everything like that. So we'll get into that in just a second. Before we do, want to remind the good folks tuning in around the world that we are presented by BetOnline.ag, where they continue to be your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at BetOnline. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. And a reminder to all current and future professional athletes, make sure you hook up with Chris Anicetti over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. He is the number one guy to get your money right. That's Chris Anicetti, Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I may not
have crazy, right? It's crazy, right? To think like these kids have wealth management people.
It's different. It's a totally different world from when we had our chance to go. So it's evolving every day, and we're moving along with it.
Well, let's just get into it. Let's get into it then, Bern. I mean, I still don't have wealth management, but hey, there were a lot of 45 jerseys back in the day when I was a sophomore. I think there were more 45 jerseys than any other number in the stadium, Bern.
Wow.
You definitely would have needed a wealth manager back then.
I like to think so. I can't guarantee it, but I like to think so. But Coach, I mean, dude, you were playing at Ohio State, right? Like that's no joke.
Yeah.
I would assume the same thing, right? Yeah. So wait, tell me how you just give us like a quick background, like how you started football, how you got to Ohio State, and then kind of your career after, and then what drew you to UW?
Oh man, football started for me before I can ever remember. My dad is a high school coach and retired last year, but he has brothers that also coach. I mean, he had 5 brothers, so 6 boys in all. They played sports, and 3 of them overall coached. And so I grew up in a coaching family. I always grew up around ball. I knew how to run triple option probably at 3 years old when, that was the number one thing everyone was doing, And I actually got to high school my sophomore year. We're running that triple option, and I'm doing a really good job at it. But also, I think I threw for the most yards in my school history at 900 yards. And so the next year they're like, okay, let's switch this thing up, and we actually went to spread offense my junior year of high school, and from there, I mean, it took off for me. Never knew I would be good enough to play college football till you get that first letter in the mail, and it's like, oh man, this thing is kind of working out, And so,
who'd you get the first letter from?
My first letter was from Kansas. I got my first offer from Kansas. And so I'll never forget seeing a piece of mail, and my mom's like, hey, I think you should open this, because, you get all the mail that's kind of like, handwritten notes and all these different things. It's kind of like, okay, cool. You take nothing up from it, right? And so all of a sudden, my mom's like, hey, I think you should open this one. I'm on my way to school one morning, and I open it, and I literally called my mom like, hey, you told me to open this, and it's a offer to play football on the next level. And from then on, I mean, I always was a hard worker because of my dad. I woke up with him every morning. We lift weights every morning before school. I mean, since I could remember and things, right? And so it was just like that was a whole nother jolt of energy, just like, hey, on to the next level. Now we got to hit it even harder. I may have a chance to play against guys even better than what I'm playing against now. And, in Texas, we think we got the best football out. 6A football, we're playing against the best in the world, And so I'm like, man, there's gonna be another level. I gotta work even harder. So, long story short, man, a guy by the name Terrell Pryor signed the year before that I went to Ohio State. And so it was tough for Ohio State to get quarterbacks at the time. You know, they know that this true freshman is playing. And so I was kind of one of those guys that didn't know a bunch about the recruiting process, but had my dad, you know, and mom there to help me and things, and kind of waited too long and lost out on some things. And by the end of that recruiting cycle, Ohio State came like a week before signing day. And it was just like, whoa, you know, and you're going to visit, and it's like, I know where I'm going to school. So let's go have some fun. And so that's
Wait, no Wisconsin?
I never got Wisconsin or anything.
It's okay. We didn't run the spread during that time. So
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. But that experience was awesome. I tell people all the time, I know for sure it's gotten me to where I'm at today, the seat that I get the chance to sit in and coach these young guys up and watch these guys reach another level of their, you know, life and in athletics. And so Wisconsin, it came about with obviously the relationship I've had with Coach Luke Fickell, knowing him since I was 17 years old. You know, I walk into that building 17 as a young wet-eared pup, and I grow into a man, and I think he's seen that at maturation from me. And, you know, never being a starter, you kind of can learn a lot about a guy. You know, I tell guys all the time I was blessed to not have the transfer portal. You know, obviously that came through my mind as I go into my third year, a true freshman comes in, and Braxton Miller, to where it's like, man, I feel like I can – I grew up in a household that competed. You know, my dad didn't tell me to go on to the next thing or no, compete your butt off, you know. And so I competed 24/7. Obviously, by the end of that third year, I kind of knew he was the starter guy. And I tell people all the time, I truly feel like that is what got me in this seat that I'm in today, because for the next 2 years, you would think that I put my head in the dirt or I left or things of that nature. I was literally a captain. You know, I was a 2-year captain, and so I took that opportunity to actually lead a guy like Braxton Miller that was young, and I was once that person young, and I wanted to help him bridge that gap rather than be that guy that's just pushing him to the side just because I'm competing against him. Nah, I'm gonna help you out, man, but I'm also be on your butt every practice and make sure you know don't take no plays off because I'm here.
Well, you also helped him out against Purdue with a nice little comeback there to win in overtime. I think that was your junior year, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So helping out on and off the field. But you mentioned recruiting. What is the biggest similarity and the biggest difference between when you were getting recruited, sort of that process, and the way that your student athletes are recruited now?
Oh. Oh man. I mean, to me it's a 180. It really is. I mean, we talk about relationships, and I mean back then that's what it truly was about. And it still is. Don't get me wrong. You better have a relationship with a guy or you don't have a chance. But I mean, there's more into the game nowadays. You know, it's back then it was more of, hey, what's the situation like, right? What's the situation involved? Well, I have that same coach for 5 years, right? You know, for a receiver, I look at it like, hey, who's the quarterback I'm signing with? You know, do I got a guy at the helm that I can trust in, you know, that I can build a relationship with? And because that guy matters a lot for me. You know, the style of offense. It's so many things that can go into it that gives you a shot, right, at the guy. But also now you kind of add that component of the kid thinking, hey, what can you do for me? You know, and that's the big difference, you know, where back in the day we wanted to go. And no, don't get me wrong. These kids, they still want to go out and earn it. They're not asking you to hand them anything, but maybe a few bucks. That's it. You know, they might ask you to hand them a few bucks. That's kind of a joke, but you know, that's the world we're in today. You know, that's the world we're in, to where back in my time, especially for a guy of my stature, that was a 3-star. Like, I'm not definitely looking for something. I know it happened back in the day. I wasn't looking for anything. Like, give me an opportunity. I want to come play ball, show you that I can lead a offense and have some fun, and hopefully one day show you that I got a coach's mentality. And so that's what I wanted to do.
We used to say every day, every time you got yelled at, we say, what have you done for me today? Only because, you know, that's the only thing we had was you had to produce on the field. We weren't getting paid. We weren't doing anything. You couldn't get rides from anyone. But you mentioned, Coach, that like that competition aspect, right? The staying somewhere for having that culture, having that drive pushed you to be where you are today. I think that drive and that pushes kids to be better people,
Yep.
right? To deal with adversity, to do all these things. I think the transfer portal, what it was set up to do was really good.
Yeah.
And we've just really destroyed it by using it for like the betterment of like our pockets,
yes,
or kids' pockets. Yeah. Do you think that culture is lost?
There's an aspect of that, I would say. I think it's easy to see the type of kids, right, that you recruit, and that's the thing that I love about this place that we're at now in Wisconsin. Since the old times where you knew the kind of guys that you were getting tough guys that was going to compete their butts off and lay down to no one. And it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed here, and that's one of the things that drew me in, obviously, with Coach Fick and everything he's done, and knowing him, the type of man he is, and also knowing this place, the tradition within this place, and knowing the type of guys that this place get. It draws you in, man. It's who doesn't want to be a part of that, right? Like a tough group of guys that's going to do exactly what you ask them to do, and always give themselves a chance to win. Always.
So, Coach, Matt Perkins, I got to ask one more question. So you're a spread guy. From what I've seen, I still think the quarterback is the leader of the team. But in the spread offense, can I say I'm a running back now?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I think the wide receivers are those dudes now who make or break the games. At Wisconsin, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that statement?
Ooh. I'm sorry, Matt. I love you, but I disagree, man. I still think the game, to me, the game is one in the trenches. I don't care what kind of offense you run. I don't care what kind of defense you run. If you don't have those horses up front, man, you have no shot. I don't care if you're getting 22 personnel run out for them, or if you're trying to spread out and run counter 11 personnel power, whatever it is, to where all we're doing is spreading it out and making that box a little lighter. But those five still got to be the guys. And it's something, honestly, I'm happy you brought this up and asked me that question, because it's something that I feel like I bring to a wide out room, honestly, the big picture, right? Like, as a wide out, we can all get in our own frame of mind. And honestly, we can get in that frame of mind of what you just said, Matt, of thinking, hey, this is spread offense. It's all about me. Throw me the ball. We're spread. I don't have to block. Throw me the ball, things of that nature. Well, I'm putting it in more in a big picture aspect of, hey, this is what that guy behind the center is dealing with. This is what he's looking at. This is where you're at in the progression of a read. That's why your depth matters so much. That's why this has to happen in this timing so much. The RPOs is the big kind of deal in the last 5 years, right? Well, it was something that we had to talk about. And, hey, RPOs aren't routes that you can fill out. If that quarterback can't pull and throw, then the RPO is not great timing. And so it's a different world. I get what you're saying about the wideouts are important. And yes, if you got those guys on the outside, man, it opens up so much more. But I'll never probably ever as much softer as this game goes, getting rid of kickoff and all of this other stuff, I'll never go away from saying the trenches is the difference of the game.
Well, the last place you were at had some very big boys in the trenches at Arkansas, and you come up to Wisconsin, and, well, you got more big boys in the trenches. But you mentioned one of the questions that Bernie asked was about sort of team culture. And I'm actually really interested in the culture in your specific meeting room.
Yeah. What
is the culture that you are trying to establish in that room, especially a group that's now had 3 different receiver coaches in 3 years?
Yeah. The number one thing is I want us to be tough mentally and physically. We play a position that kind of gets known as the prima donnas, right? We all have said that before at some point, probably for sure here in this place back in the day when we were running that I formation all the time. It was kind of, the prima donna position. So toughness is the number one thing that I talk about, just mentally and physically understanding that, hey, you may be open and not get the ball. It's okay. Next play. I've played that position. I miss the guy every now and then. It is what it is. But one thing I know as a quarterback is I've never passed up a wide open guy. I might have just missed the guy. So if you can go get open and you'll get the ball. It's going to happen, and that's the mental aspect of it. You can see a lot of guys get in their own head, and you can know what's about to happen the next play. You can see a guy that makes a mistake, and they get on and they can power up, and hey, coach, come back to him this next play. You know, it's two different reactions. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say mentally and physically tough. We all know what physically tough mean. Also, I want them to be finishers, right? So when you say mentally and physically tough, that's hey, bringing it, right? Bringing it. Finishers or competitors. A competitor is going to go finish everything he does, whether that's making a play on the catch, finishing a block for the touchdown block, whatever it is. But if you got a finisher, I promise you he's a competitor. He probably wants to go to the basketball court and beat you at a three-point shootout. He probably, when you go fishing, want to catch more fish than you. He probably want his ribs to taste better than your ribs if y'all both are cooking. You know, a guy that's a finisher. And then the last part is have fun. Have fun. I mean, this game that we play every day, I mean, we put so many hours into it, so much work into it that you only guaranteed so many opportunities, so many different Saturdays to play. And if you don't have fun, you're going to waste one of those opportunities. And wasting that opportunity is something that we can't allow ourselves to do because you only got so many snaps in that body. We all know it. And so have fun with those snaps. Bad happens, respond. Good happen, know how to respond. You know, and so those would be the three things I would say. Definitely toughness, mentally and physically, finishers. That's going to make you a competitor, and then have fun at the end of the day.
Blocking gets you to the NFL.
Say it one more time.
I said blocking will get you to the NFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100%. 100%. And just being a well-rounded guy, a well-rounded player on and off the field. You know, they love those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm. So, Coach, I think your room's electric, man. I love the wide receiver group. I've taken great stock in it. I think the running backs are still number one in my eyes because I can't not have that feeling.
Understand.
You've been at spring ball. What stood out to you about kind of the spring competitions that's going on? I mean, you're fairly new, so you're meeting guys, you're learning about them, you're seeing how they operate. What's kind of some of your your big takes?
Just the room period or the team?
Let's go with the room first,
okay.
And then we can go team. Okay. We can go team after.
Well,
good question. Thanks, Coach.
The number one thing that I liked coming into it was the versatility. I think we have a lot of versatility in the room when you got big guys who can play big and physical. You got the kind of average size guys that can go play fast or be physical at the same time. Then you got your smaller slot body guys that can work the middle of the field, keep hands off of guys. I mean, just kind of put DBs in circles, kind of. So I love the versatility. The thing that I like a lot about this room is whatever you stress, the next day we're trying to fix it, or the next rep we're trying to fix it. Whatever it is. Walking into this room, you knew there would be some leadership. You got some guys that are a year in this offense now, quite a few years in the college, whether they transferred or been here. But they've been 3 or more years in college. To me, that experience is it's something you can't substitute for, you know. And so you can just tell we have a group that's a bit older, have leadership, and understand college football. And so when they understand that coach is gonna keep it light, have fun with you at the end of the day. So now when I get on your butt and I'm able to coach you up how I need to coach you up, you understand where it's coming from. It's coming from wanting to see better and knowing that there's better in that tank. I'm not gonna ask you something that I don't think you can do. You know, so I love that about our room. Whatever we stress, they're going to get it. I love the versatility from our room. I'm able to put guys in different spots if need be. And then the depth, like you said. I mean, it's a room, so we got really good depth in the room. It's really good competition, and I tell guys all the time, competition only makes you better. Everybody talk about iron sharpen iron. Yes, that is great. Iron sharpen iron, me against a corner. Iron sharpen iron also can be that friend you got right next to you in the room when you seeing him making plays and you know like, oh, okay, now I better make me some because I'm trying to get on that field just as much as him. And so that's iron sharpen iron just as much as you lining up versus a DB.
So then let's expand it out to, the team as a whole. How would you describe the culture that Coach Vic has created here in his first year plus now, what is it, year and 3 months, year and 5 months, something like that?
Yeah.
And sort of what do you think makes it unique as opposed to other places you have coached?
I love it, man. It's my first chance kind of getting to speak on it since, watching the guys play football. Because, you go through winter workouts, you go through OTAs and things. But when you get a chance to ball come out and watch guys go, people may say this a lot, but the competitive nature of this place. I mean, it is 24/7 on go. Everybody on. I mean, I have recruits come. I have new guys that are here with Kyan Barry Johnson and Tyrell Henry. And obviously, Kyan's coming out of high school, so it's definitely different from him. Whatever we show him, it's like, hey, let's go, But Tyrell coming from a different place, and he sees it, and it's like, whoa, the intensity here is so different. The competitive nature is so different, and that's what I love about it, man. To me, the more you can play the game or do things that relate to the game, the better you'll be. We can all go do drills all day, right? Like we all know those guys that are great at drills. I call a drill out. Bernie, you may have known back in the day, you do a running back drill, one or two of them where you're like, this ain't my best drill. That other guy may look great at that drill. Next thing you know, you get out there 11 on 11 and you're doing it natural and it's just working. And to me, that's what it's about, going to play the game. And when you go play the game and you put the ball down at this place, I mean, it is on. It is on everybody. I mean, ears are perked, coaches are perked, and you better bring the energy because it's go time. And if you get caught slacking, good luck.
Besides you, what coach is the most animated during practice?
Besides me, oh man, I'd have to go with Coach Blazik. I mean, our O-line coach. I mean, he brings the energy, man. Him, Coach Spalding as well. He's got a really good energy about himself. You can tell when something great happens because, I mean, our side is, we got some good energy about ourselves.
So it's all in the offense, is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah. We're gonna, and maybe that's just what I pay attention to more because if we don't do well, I'm not paying attention to what's happening on that other side.
Coach, when you came on, how tough was it to learn Longo's offense, language, terminology, and then start putting it into practice?
Yeah, to me, that's all about your want to learn it. Just being honest with you, man. Like there hasn't really been. Maybe I don't know if I'm different than others, but there hasn't really been an offense that's just tough and hard for me to learn. I'll be very honest with you, man. Everybody run the same stuff. It's the different terminology. It's the different way people say things. And what we do is unique. I will say that he has some different nuances that I'm going to take with me forever. Like I told him that just today, not too long ago. And he's got some great stuff. But, man, as long as you want to learn it, you'll learn it. I mean, every time he taught me something, I took great notes. And I'd like to say in about a week and a half, I was good to go. I'm ready to go out and teach the players and everything because I'm going to close that door. And my family was still in Arkansas. So what am I rushing home for? I'm going to close that door, watch some film, and I'm going to get it down. And I want the details, too. I want the details. So when I get in that room, I'm speaking with confidence and I got the guys ready to roll, And so I want to know what you liked about the past year, what you didn't like. What can we make better? How can we expand it? And I want to know it all. And so once we went through that process, man, it wasn't tough for me at all. And the hardest part for me is like the communication of it all, right? So like I know the terminology. I know how we call it and how we going to get it out there. But then once I start seeing a few signals, it's like, hold on, what signal was that one? So that was the tough part for me. And then to me, that was just more like the experience of it. Like now I look at them and I'm like, how did I get that back in the day, week 1 or week 2? But now it's like, I got it now. It's easy money.
Coach, do you guys communicate the play, or does Coach Longo communicate the play, or are the coaches watching the hand signals mostly?
Oh, we're communicating. We're communicating. Okay. We're talking. We always know what's going on, and so we're always trying to be on the same page with that, just so we can, help the guys, help them get in a position to help them succeed. Really, So we always try to show them something ahead.
How much are you trying to balance what you see in the film room from last year's team versus what you're seeing with your 2 eyes when it comes to trying to improve the players?
Yeah, see, I think it's different levels, right? So when I talk about the offense, I want to look through those lenses of the OC, because obviously it's what he sees and what he calls is he's obviously seeing certain things that the reason why he wants to do that, and so. I want to get with him and make sure that we're seeing it the same way, right? But then when it comes to the actual wideout himself, right? You talk about a Will Paul and Bryson Green or any one guy, then I want to sit down and I want to watch that guy and see what's going to be my difference to get that guy to buy in, to make him say, hey, I got this new coach, my 3rd coach in 3 years. What's different about him? How is he going to help me reach that next level? And so that's what I'm looking for as I watch that guy, right? I'm trying to see, hey, what is he really good at? I tell him what I think he's really good at. Now that ought to go to great, right? I look at some things that I say, hey, this probably wasn't so good. Well, that needs to go to good. And that's how somebody becomes great, right? You make the good great, you make the bad or whatever I need to work on good. And now you're becoming great, And so that's the process that I take in order to try. Was it right or wrong? I don't know. It's just my way of going about it, and seemed to work out so far. So I hope it keeps going.
So, Coach, who in the room is bringing that energy? Who's the leader? Who's you see correcting things on the daily easily? Because I do agree with you that you have a lot of guys who have 3+ years in college football.
Yep.
So you pick up so much easier, and dudes who come in as freshmen really don't. They could, not saying they can't, but it's a lot. There's a longer runway for those dudes.
Yes.
So who's in the room who's like really just shocked you?
Man, it's so crazy because I can say so many of them right now, man. Will Paulins has stepped up. He stepped up as a leader. He stepped up in another role to where you can see the comfortability in his game. Bryson Green, obviously, another one. I mean, he's a guy that you tell him one time he's got it. He's going out there to do it. He kind of challenges you as a coach, right? Because you just feel as if, oh, man, every time I tell him something, he's able to go fix it right away. And how can I keep challenging him? How can I keep challenging? How can I keep challenging? Because he's an older guy that's been in college for so long, he just gets it, right? C.J. Williams, Vinny Anthony. I mean, those two, Vinny is doing, everything that I asked him to do. It is done the next rep. Not the next day, the next rep. I mean, he wants to know, how can I be better? How can I, what do I need to do? Same thing with C.J., Quincy. I mean, in the slide, you got Tretch, Scooter, Alex Moeller, and great. Hawk Anderson on the outside has picked up leadership role. He understands who he is now. He knows that leadership is just about speaking up, and he's done that. So it's so many names that, honestly, when I said it earlier, I really mean it, man. You say something, you stress something. Like I'm very careful with what I put on my notes before the meeting. Because I know if I put it on those notes now, that next day these guys are gonna go out there and try to get it done 1,000 miles per hour. And so I'll never forget one note. We were doing a good job getting up on guys when we block, but we weren't getting like attached to them, right? We kept kind of bump and trying to bump. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm nervous as I say this, but we have to try to get inside to grab cloth on guys, And you can see why I would be nervous, right? On the perimeter, you grabbing cloth and the guy tries to move away, and it was right then and there. Everybody's like, no, we get it. You got to get inside, ball hands in. And it's like, okay, we're on the right path. We'll be just fine. Yeah, let's get in there and let's go get it done then. Let's make it happen. And that day, you saw guys trying to strain and finish on the perimeter.
Well, we've only got you for a couple more minutes here, Coach. So I'm going to throw a couple quick rapid fire questions at you first. First about the room and about sort of Madison UW so far. So right now, who's the biggest trash talker in the room?
Biggest trash talker. Wow. I would say he's very subtle with it, but C.J. Williams. I think he's a little subtle with it though. Like we don't have a lot of guys that's talkers, but it's kind of subtle, and he's the guy that kind of he don't mind giving a little something after the play to make sure like, yeah, I got after you a little bit, You
might have tested it fastest 40.
Whoa, fastest 40. Whoa. Man. Fastest 40. That means just lining up and going.
Mm-hmm.
Quincy Strong, man. He's strong. I would say it's got to be out of Quincy, Will, and Tretch. Man, I hope I ain't forgetting nobody, but you know what? It's Will or Quincy. You know what? Out of the sprints, because in the first 15, 20, I think Will's got them. I think if you start getting them to about 30, Quincy might give him a shot, roll for his money right there. He might.
Who's going to make the most? Who's going to moss the most guys?
Oh, okay. Bank catches. Bank
catches. I love
bank. Yeah, put them in the bank. We do it every day. Yeah, we got to see who make the most bank catches. I'm gonna say Bryson Green.
My money was going to be on Bryson Green as well. Okay.
Then we're banking
I
all
hate
that.
picking
because
one
I
out of
was
that
too.
one, though. I hate picking one, man. I know
mean-
CJ's going to walk up on me talking that trash like you asked me, man. God, dog.
But that's the competition that you want in the
Exactly.
room.
Exactly right. You're
Trying
exactly
to push
right.
these guys a little bit here.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
okay. So the guy who is the least afraid to go across the middle and take a hit.
Oh, that's Will and Tretch.
Will and Tretch with those guys. I'm excited to see Tretch return some kicks this year. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
I'm the prospect of him and Vinny Anthony back there returning kicks and punts gets me very excited
Yes.
as a Badger fan.
I'm
Okay,
excited.
let's talk about Madison. So you've been here for a couple months now. What's your favorite place to eat?
Favorite place to eat, man. Coach Spalding, him and his wife took me to Naples. Me and my wife to Naples. Anybody that gets a chance to go, please go.
I think we need to get Naples to start sponsoring this podcast because I think you're like the fourth or fifth coach who said that exact thing.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Man, that place is legit, man. That's some of the best Italian I've ever had in my life. So quick story. I know we got to go soon, but I'll be quick. So me and Coach Spalding and our wives are eating, right? We're eating appetizers. We kill the appetizers. I look across the table and I'm like, Dev, this may be like some of the best Italian, maybe top 2 I've ever had. He says, dude, you ain't even got your entree yet. I didn't even notice I didn't have my entree yet, man. I'm saying this is the best out. I'm like, dude, I've been killing this food. It was so good.
All right. And then what are you most excited about in stadium, in game for this fall?
Winning. Some wins in the jump around. Because every time I've been around the jump around, I was on the opposite sideline. So I can't wait. I can't wait to finally be on the same side with the jump around. So that will be a lot of fun. Some wins in the jump around. And I know my kids will love that as well. 3 boys, they'll be jumping right with the crowd.
Are your wife and kids excited about getting up to Madison?
Oh, yeah, they're excited. They're here now. They're here. So we've been in the house for about 3 weeks or so. And, they're here. They're loving it. Probably not the snow as much, but they'll get used to it.
They'll get used to it. And plus, summer in Madison is a pretty special place. I will say. It's very glad I didn't go home during the summers often during college.
Good. I've heard a lot about it, man. And there's been only great things said about it, so I can't wait to see it.
Awesome. Well, that is going to do it here for us today with Coach Guiton here on Believe in Badgers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on the Believe Network all around the world. I don't know, wherever else we're airing. It's been a bunch of places recently, Bally Sports Midwest, all over the place, Fubo TV, who knows. Once again, thanks for tuning in to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. He's Matt Bernstein. We appreciate Coach Guiton being here. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.